The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. From the heart of Broadway and historic downtown Cape Girardeau, this is Pro Wrestling Unscripted.
Wednesdays are for pro wrestling, and of course that means another edition of Pro Wrestling Unscripted right here on the Podzilla 1985 network. I am your host for the evening, the 5-star man, Asa Gray, and joining me at this time is the Big D, Dalton Anthony.
Yo.
This week we are not doing the usual Facebook Live recording for the podcast because I am getting over a stomach bug that has been making its way around Southeast Missouri here, and I feel like I look like garbage, so I'm not making anyone sit through that.
Yeah, and my first Fauci ouchie put me on my ass. So I'm also like, I've been going to work and everything like normal, but I have just been dead tired, so it's probably good that you don't see our not so handsome mugs this time.
But we're getting the episode up like normal, so if you're listening to this, you know that. But we will be back next week, ideally, back on Facebook.com/Podzilla1985, 7 p.m. Central Time, bringing PW to you live in living color. And of course, go give the page a like, because you can also check out Horse Time and PZ85 After Dark and all the other shows that we do. So, but enough about the housekeeping. Time to get into some news, because there's not a ton of it, but I feel like we can spend quite a bit on a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Starting with PW Insider is reporting that... Oh, I lost all my notes. Where did everything go? Okay. PW Insider is reporting that the first batch of NXT broadcasts and tapings to take place after WrestleMania will be airing and broadcast on Tuesday nights instead of the normal Wednesday night. And that has been a long-running rumor for the last couple weeks for sure. There's been rumblings about it probably for a month or so. But let me get to the actual... Mike Johnson, who pretty much runs PW Insider, several WWE sources confirmed today that the first WWE NXT episode coming out of WrestleMania 37 weekend is currently scheduled to be held and broadcast on Tuesday, April 13th. And okay, and then just kind of the rest of the article is kind of him talking about how there's no confirmation, but he's heard from multiple sources that this move looks to be temporary. So I think this is a fantastic move, because this is a win for NXT, and it's an even bigger win for wrestling fans. And it's also a win for us, because now we have one extra show we can talk about instead of two shows airing simultaneously that we are always going to end up being a week behind on.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part about it.
Right.
Is that we can be current for once instead of like a week behind on two major shows that arguably two of the best shows that were always like, oh yeah, that did happen a week ago while we were recording.
Right. And it's like, how many times have I given a prediction or said, I hope to see something happen? And it had either the complete opposite thing had already happened and I was just behind on it. So now I'll only look stupid talking about AEW.
Which, I mean, that's fine. We do that anyway, so it'll work.
That's fair. Okay. So, also, this is a win to NXT, because now they no longer have to compete. And really, ultimately, I think it's a good thing for AEW, too. Because I would expect, as someone with no knowledge of television ratings or what the actual viewership is of either show, but I feel like both numbers will increase now that they're not competing against each other. Because there is a small segment, especially of like the AEW fan base, that I feel like does enjoy NXT. Sure, you have the weirdos on both sides of, no, only WWE wrestling is good, everything else sucks. And the, no, only non-WWE wrestling is good, and WWE sucks. And you have these weird people who don't understand that it's completely legal to like both.
But Asa, WWE is okay and AEW is okay sometimes. And no, yeah, that's what I hate about wrestling fans.
Yeah, the weird, and it's the same in like, I would say the two things that I am most passionate about are pro wrestling and video games. And both of those fandoms suck just so much when it comes to tribalism and divisiveness. And no, my thing is better than your thing, and this thing that I like is better than the thing you like. And it's so stupid and counterproductive, and I hate it. But
and if you go to your third thing you're probably most passionate about, it's comic books.
Yeah, I mean, that's not any better. That's not really a lot better. I'm not as involved in those communities, like online. Like, I listen to Kind of Funny Games Daily, which is a daily video game podcast. I'm constantly on the Squared Circle Reddit, and I follow a ton of people in the industry on pro wrestling on Twitter, and I see a ton of stuff like that. I don't get that, and it's the same thing with video games. Like, I follow a ton of video game people on Twitter too. I don't follow a ton of comic book people, and I don't get into the, and sometimes stuff comes to my attention, like, no, Avengers suck, X-Men's better, because that's a thing. And, obviously the DC Marvel blood feud, that is stupid, but because, both have good things, both have dumb things. The middle ground is a safe and easy place to be, and I don't understand why people care so much that their thing has to be like, the video game thing I understand a little bit more, because there's someone, I can't remember who made the point, but it is a really good one of, okay, if you're dropping $500 on a console, you want to believe that you're picking the right one and the best one. So you kind of have to, like, you might feel the need to go to bat for the Xbox if that's what you chose to buy, and you can only get the one. But even still, like, I don't get, anytime there's a PlayStation announcement or an Xbox announcement, like there was big Bethesda Xbox news with the Bethesda joining Xbox officially.
Yeah.
And anytime like Phil Spencer or anybody higher up on Xbox's side posts anything, there's always someone with either a default avatar, no picture, or it's an anime avatar, or it's like Nathan Drake, but he's fat. It's like, Xbox sucks, PlayStation's best. Always. And it's like, why? What do you hope to gain there?
I will say, I do that very funny sometimes. Like, I do that as a joke to myself sometimes. I walked into the Stride locker room on Saturday, and Jim and Sam were talking about exclusives on systems, and he was like, well, yeah, Sony has some exclusives. And I walked in and said, the best fucking exclusives, and walked out. I didn't add anything to the conversation. I literally said best fucking exclusives and then went right back outside. And it's one of those where it's like, I really don't mean that. Like, Halo hits pretty hard, but I also just like being a dick sometimes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But that's enough video game talk. It's going back to,
oh yeah, Wednesdays is for wrestling.
Wednesdays are for pro wrestling. Oh, just had a little bit come up there. Okay, we're all right. We're back.
Oh no.
Well, I took a big drink of water, and it's just like, all of a sudden it's just like,
but no, it's super cool that if NXT goes to Tuesdays for real, it'll give everybody a chance to watch the product. I think like competition is good and all that, but AEW isn't running live television on all of the other WWE days. There's no reason to run head to head with them. Just let them do what they're doing. Like, they're posing really a non-threat to you at this point, because you guys run two completely different shows. Well, and you can let your show that you want people to grow on get more exposure.
Well, and they are kind of a threat, you would say, to NXT, because AEW has pretty handedly won both the overall like numbers and the key demographics. Like, yeah, I feel like it's only been but a handful of weeks that AEW has not come out on top of that. So, and USA spent however much money to get WWE programming on their network. You want to, again, it's the console thing. wait, I spent how much money on you? No, you need to be the better one. You need to be producing better things than the other thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a win because, like I said, I feel like what's the phrase? A rising tide raises all boats. And now that you don't have to choose between watching NXT and AEW, now, especially because those are the shows, like if it was Raw and Dynamite, I'm sure that would be an absolute blowout. But NXT and AEW are both for more of the hardcore fan bases.
Yeah.
So now that people don't have to choose, I would expect both numbers to go up.
And that's what you want to see. Like, I don't want NXT to go back to the network or Peacock exclusively. I like that it's on live TV. I like that people are able to randomly scroll through their channels and see, oh, WWE NXT, I wonder what this is about, and then see Johnny Gargano and then fall in love with that guy. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to do that when they're stuck on the network. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, because like I know like you're not saying anything, but like I had a conversation with Rhino about that, and whenever he was in Cape, where he was talking about the 6-sided ring being kind of goofy, and he was like, I think they were only doing it to try to catch people's attention. And I told him, I was like, well, I was like 12 years old whenever I found it TNA, and I stayed on it because I saw that it was a 6-sided ring, and I'd never seen that before. And he looked at me and he was like, well, at least I guess it worked. He's like, it worked once at least.
Yeah.
So like it's one of those where. But if you have a kid that only wants to watch AEW because he likes the Bucks, like they're not going to flip over to NXT if they don't know it exists. Whereas if you have it on a different time, they have a higher chance of running into it.
Plus, WWE's programming is going to be all over. You're going to expect to see it here in a couple weeks. The announcements, like I know a lot of people expected the announcement. One of the two major announcements last week were going to be that they were moving to Tuesdays, which that ended up being the introduction of the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, and that Mania TakeOver is going to be 2 nights as well. Which
cool.
Yeah, and it's also not happening Mania weekend. It's like the week before, I think, or something like that. But here's the thing that I think that I want to touch on real quick, just because we'll save it for towards the end of the episode, because I have thoughts on the NXT women's title, women's tag team titles. So, but this is all just kind of a wait and see. Again, this is just PW Insider, which is Mike Johnson's typically pretty reliable when he reports on stuff. So now it's just kind of, okay, when do they announce it? And it really could be any time, because Mania is only a couple weeks away at this point.
Yeah, I think we're closing in on less than a month.
Because Fastlane is this Sunday, which I didn't realize. Yeah, Saturday, April 10th and Sunday, April 11th. So it's
Mania?
Yeah. So we're less than a month away at this point.
Nice.
So crazy. But we will hear something soon, or we will hear nothing, and it'll just stay on Wednesdays, because that is also a possibility. Plans change. See, next up, a bummer of a story, and one that I just do not even could begin to fathom. It was reported and confirmed by multiple sources that Andrade had requested his release from WWE, and that request was denied. And it's not the part that he would have requested his release or that he would have been denied that I find unbelievable. It's the sheer fact that you have someone like Andrade on your roster and you have nothing for him to do.
Same thing for Aleister Black.
Yeah.
Like you have people like that. That's just, you have some of the best talent in the world. And you're like, yeah, we really don't have anything for you.
And it's just, it's mind blowing to see like what they did on NXT, to see how good they are. And for creative has nothing for you. Like, sure, they don't, put either one of them, put the US title on either one of them. As much as I don't like Retribution, throw him in Retribution. Let Andrade do a LIJ. Give him a stable. He would excel at that. Like the fact that, and it seemed like we were about to kind of get that, just not name, when he was working with Angel Garza.
Yeah.
There for a while. put him with Garza and Carrillo and just let him go, because holy crap, all three of those guys are incredibly talented. And I can't believe that on 5 hours of programming, not counting the 2 hours on NXT, you can't find a spot for him, and he's so miserable not being able to do the thing that he loves that he wants out of where his fiance? Did he and Charlotte Flair get engaged? Am I imagining that?
They might be engaged. I'm not 100% sure.
I looked that up. At least, where his girlfriend works, for a cushy job, like a cushy paycheck, not really having to do anything, like the travel's gone with the pandemic. So to be that, want out that bad, why, how do you screw this up?
Yeah.
So royally.
I do also just love, I don't want to work here anymore. Too bad.
Yeah, no, which I get, you signed a contract, but
I wouldn't want somebody that doesn't want to work for me.
Yeah, but at the same time, when it's your fault, they don't want to work for you. You don't care. That's not an issue.
I guess you're right.
You're sad? Oh, you don't want to be here? Okay, well, have fun not being here. Sit at home and I'm just going to give you money to do literally nothing. It's so stupid. The budget's so tight that they actually had to release people in the middle of a pandemic. Well, that would free up some money, you would think.
Yeah, and again, we don't know how their contracts
Garbage
work. Maybe, I don't know, if he wants out of his contract, you just void the contract.
I mean, they've granted releases, and there's been penalties. Obviously, you wouldn't get the money that that's what I'm saying. You said you're getting, and there's going to be the non-compete clause and things like that. Also, they have been engaged since last January.
Good for them. I'm happy that they're holding strong.
Oh yeah, I was like, man, it had been that long, and I completely forgot that. So he wants to leave where his fiance works and is being treated like the polar opposite of the way he's been treated. Actually, that's not true. I guess him constantly being on TV, but being embarrassed and losing would be the opposite. He's just not even on TV.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I don't even think it's being embarrassed and losing. I think it's just not having fun.
Yeah.
Yes, when you're at that high level of wrestling, making money is super important. But I also think if you're not having fun, it's probably not worth it. Especially with the way that wrestling is today. You can go somewhere else and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying he'd go to AEW, but we have this vaccine hitting right now. Give it another 6, 7, 8 months. Independent wrestling hopefully is going to be popping again. And if that's the case, then I would see WWE not wanting somebody going out and making money, especially off the back of what they the vehicle they gave him. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I don't want to do working for me that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Because
and again, if in a typical employee environment, employee-employer environment, not to mention that these are friggin' independent contractors. Because I think that adds a nice little wrinkle to it.
You are so independent you can't leave if you want to.
Yeah, we are not letting you go. I completely agree with you. If I wouldn't want someone working for me who is unhappy being there, because I do think it overall will lower morale, and there's a lot of negatives to having a negative attitude like that on your team. That said, WWE doesn't care, and WWE is not that kind of place.
Because imagine JCPenney's. We can talk about them. I don't care. Yeah. Imagine whenever you went to say I'm leaving and she just said no.
Yeah.
But I don't want to work here. That sucks. You're still working here. That's not how any other business works, except for but even in major sports, the request to trade is very common. You don't hear often somebody wanting to get traded because they could just sit on the bench. Which, I mean, that's what they're doing with Andrade, basically. But they are benching him, not the other way around.
And that's what
Andrade's not refusing to play.
The sports thing is way more of a apt analogy than JCPenney because, no one signed a contract to JCPenney.
That's true, yeah. I'm just saying, it's wild if you put it in context like that of, I want to leave. No. Well, that's not okay. I said I don't want to be here. That sucks to be you, man. Accept this money and sit on your couch. Which, don't get me wrong, would hit for me. But Andrade's a real wrestler.
Oh, yeah, to me, that's the dream. Being told I'm going to get paid and just sit home, hell yeah.
But, like, these guys know that they only have a finite amount of time to really do what they want to do in wrestling. And when they're not being allowed to do anything, and then to be told, well, you can't leave, like that. To go
do that thing somewhere else.
Yeah,
like, no. Suck. We know you would be successful and make money elsewhere, but we don't want that to happen either.
Yeah.
Like, go fuck yourselves. That's
it's stupid.
So much shitty stuff in the news lately. But hey, some good news coming up. Anna Jay has undergone successful shoulder surgery, and she gets to go home to her dog today, or she went home to her dog today.
Yay!
And I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to see her back. I hope a speedy and thorough recovery for her, and that she gets back to the Dark Order and AEW very, very soon. Because I'm a fan of hers. I really like what they've been doing with her in the Dark Order. And I like the dynamic of her and Tay Conti. I want to see more of that. And just, good news is good.
Yeah.
And like, that's not one that there's a ton that we can really comment on.
Just, we're happy that she didn't have any complications as of right now. Like, that's pretty baller.
Yeah. Yes. So,
we're about to not have baller news again.
Yeah,
there's two more stories. Cool.
No, there's 3. There's 3 more, because you got the one that you did.
Oh, well, but these are back to back to back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp has reported that Charlie Caruso was pulled from TV due to repeat tardiness and complaints from other on-air talent, including wrestlers. This, of course, was but for the last couple weeks, she has been off of Raw Talk, which they've been doing, and instead has been hosted by Kevin Egan, I believe is how you say his name, who they just recently hired, and he's been doing it. He's been doing a good job on it from the few clips that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's worth noting that, because I've seen this brought up a lot whenever people were talking about this online, that she also apparently works for ESPN. So it's not like WWE is her only gig.
Which, I mean, that's good for her.
But apparently, like, the complaints of her showing up late to interviews that were either taped for television or otherwise eventually made its way to Vince McMahon himself, and he was very disappointed, and he was unhappy with that, so she's been pulled off of TV. I've also seen that her contract is apparently coming up pretty soon, so we may not see any more of Charlie going forward. It's entirely possible they do re-sign her. She does come back to air, but at the same time, if she decides that she would rather work for ESPN full time, then, that's for sure a possibility.
And good for her if she does. Do what you're supposed to do at your job. Like, don't be late and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I very much am in the mindset of, if I'm 10 minutes early, I'm on time, because then I have 10 minutes to relax before I need to get there. I would be really upset. I mean, I have been really upset. We both worked in retail where you're expecting somebody to come in to cover you, or for a lunch, or for you to leave your shift and they not show up. I mean, I'm sure that's happened at the old your old food place too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of stuck holding the piss bucket until the person shows up. I don't want to know what that's like whenever you're having to tape TV.
Yeah, especially with the reports of how wildly cutting things close, like that, how tight that schedule is. That's the phrase I was going for.
Yeah. I mean, we've been annoyed not doing paid TV whenever interviews get cut short, or we're
planning for a friggin' YouTube show that has no time restrictions, and we can make it as long as we want, and it'd be like, okay, so we have this, and this will tie in great with that, and then someone shows up, 10 minutes after bell time,
yeah,
and it's like, well, I'm already at the commentary table, you're geared up for your match. Everybody's out filming already. Shannon's running around doing a million things. So it's not, it's like, well, that's out the window. Let's
that's not.
And then that's
happen.
when I just have to that's when I would have to just like force a line of something into commentary to kind of get that story that we need to get across.
You're super good at it, though. It's fine.
But yeah, so unfortunate news there. Like, that's a bummer to hear. Because I did I enjoyed her work. I thought she was good on
she's
Raw Talk
amazing.
and talking smack and stuff like that, especially because she kind of had to really step up whenever Renee Young left, because those were some huge shoes to fill. And I think that she did a solid job at it.
Yeah. It's just a shame that it isn't working or it seems like it's not working as well as it should be for her.
Right. Where did we go?
And yet another COVID outbreak at NXT.
Yep. So apparently tonight's NXT show has been wildly reshuffled from advertising. I don't know if there were advertised matches that weren't taking place or internally matches that they thought were going to be taking place are no longer taking place, because there's apparently another outbreak at the Performance Center.
Now,
so that sucks. It's one of those things where it's like, if you've listened to the show for a while, you understand my stance on, or maybe not, you don't understand it, but you know my stance on gatherings and masking and things like that. Like, I have someone in my family who died from COVID. And when there are so many people that are so flagrantly anti-mask and irresponsible, I'm just like, how? Like, why? Just
you gotta everything you said is absolutely right. Picture, like, and you know what I do for a living. I have been told by people that I work for that their people around them say that masks don't work.
Mm-hmm.
That is so scary and so, like,
and it's also stupid.
Yeah,
it's
and
wrong,
irresponsible.
And it's stupid. Like, that's the big thing, is that it is incorrect.
I was telling Sadie this, like, today we were walking around Walmart looking for action figures while wearing masks. I said, like, you know what? I'm super happy I have you, but dating right now would be super easy. Because, like, hang out for a girl for, like, a week or two, and then be like, hey, we want to go, like, grab some food at the store. And if she doesn't grab a mask before she goes on, that ends. That's just done right there. I was like, I've never had a, like, opportunity just to see what empathy and sympathy look like right away whenever I was dating back in my dating days. Like, I had to figure out a couple weeks and months into it, where it wasn't able to figure it out that quick. This gives a very cut and dry, oh no, this person's a shitbag. Yeah, no. And it's one of those things. So, like, when I was getting back to the NXT having a COVID outbreak, how the hell does Ring of Honor have a bubble? And it expects their talent to be in the Ring of Honor bubble and not break that, but NXT doesn't. Or WWE as a whole doesn't have that.
I think it's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I am pretty far out of ROH at this point. Like, the most recent thing that I know about ROH is that they signed Danhausen, which makes me very happy. And I think it's because they film multiple episodes in a stretch.
Yes, and
so
they do.
They're able to have everybody quarantine for those 2 weeks, to be in the bubble while they record, and then they don't have to come back for another, like, month. Whereas this would require, because this is a weekly, if the contract says they have to do X number of live episodes, then there's really no other than just keeping them in isolation completely. Which I just don't think, because isn't that kind of how NBA and stuff did, is their schedule was a lot lighter this past season? They
were finishing up the season. Because it cut into, like, and Cody can correct me, and I don't know how the season's going right now. Again, Cody, correct me tomorrow morning. But last year's season that ended, like, in October, they were just finishing up, like, figuring out who was going to be in the playoffs, and then they did the playoffs. So that bubble only really had to be there for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But their bubble was strict. Like, they blocked off, like, an entire area of Disney and did it.
Yeah.
It's really weird that they keep having this problem. and like a couple of
No,
things.
it's not weird. It's sad and it's pathetic that they keep having this problem.
Because, all right, and I'm sorry, but whenever I say weird, it's just like, this is a company that has enough money to prevent this from happening as much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and there's all these reports too of like, I say all these, but there's recently been reports that apparently Vince McMahon is starting to get pissed at people constantly like breaking protocols and
yeah, I fucking would be too.
But at the same time, and apparently that was the reason that they fired not the racist one,
Wesley Blake name? Or
no, the other one, because he's still
Cutler.
Cutler, yeah. They fired him because he threw or was at or something. Like, it was because he just totally like disregarded COVID to throw a New Year's party, and there were positive tests to come out of that. So they tried to send him, like, they sent the talent a message there. But then to give yourself whiplash, the original plan, which as far as I know, I think might still be in place. They might have cut it back, but the original plan was for WrestleMania to have 45,000 people there, so that they could brag about having the biggest live event in sports since the pandemic started. That's stupid. Like, sure, the vaccine's getting out there, and like here in Missouri, we're like 44. No, we just entered the next tier on Monday.
It's like 1B or some shit like that. Yeah,
and then we go into the next tier supposedly 45 days after that, which is supposed to be now it's, anybody who wants the vaccine can get it.
Yeah, which is good that we're finally getting there. It's really insane with what me and you do, because we both deal with the public a whole lot, that we have just now gotten ours.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to comment on that right now.
That's true. That's true. But if you're listening, get the vaccine.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like we've already said, wear a mask. If you have the vaccine, wear a mask still. Show empathy and sympathy, and be fucking responsible.
Because you may not be, catch it, but you can still, even though the chances are lower, you could still transmit it.
Yeah.
So if you're going places where there aren't vaccinated people, like I feel like I'm going nuts.
We're taking the crazy pills.
How is just empathy so, how has it become such a foreign concept?
Yeah.
To people, like I don't get it, but
yeah. No,
anyway,
but,
I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep ranting about COVID because I'm getting like legit angry again. Because
they got what we got out of it. Wear a mask, get the vaccine. Yeah. Let's get over this so we can enjoy live wrestling again. Because I would like to perform in front of people and not feel like a dirtbag when I do it. Mm-hmm. So let's get this done.
So go ahead and actually, real quick, because I saw something pop up on Twitter, and breaking news, because this is something we would have had to sit on for a week. But Dalton, did you see that MJF's stable has a name?
The Pinnacle, baby.
Oh, who are we gonna sue?
I've gotten a couple of messages since the start of the show, and I didn't want to be like, Big Lee messaged me. Caleb Carter's posted some pretty good stuff on the Facebooks. It's been it's pretty good. Because their shirt for AEW, which by the way, for people making fun of the fact that they're a t-shirt company, quote unquote, their shirts have really started to suck recently. But it's just a mountain range for the Pinnacle. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's lazy. But I mean,
they're doing the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, and it's all of the members.
Yeah, no, it's a cool name.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't local and don't know what we're talking about, for the last 4 years, the number one heel faction in CCW has been the Pinnacle. Actually, that's not true, because House 100 kind of took that mantle for about a year.
It was the first 3 years.
Yeah, the first 3 years, and now it seems that they are making a comeback from what my inside sources from these events that have been happening.
What if Marco goes to the Pinnacle?
He should. He'd be a 2-time member. They need look at those softies. They need a bodyguard.
God damn it.
Put him in, coach. So yeah, I thought that was funny. Go ahead. I thought that was a fun little aside.
The Retromania fuck you, man.
Yeah, go ahead and get into your why you refuse to understand why making video games is hard.
All right, so Retromania, which dropped February 26th for people on Steam, is getting awesome reviews. After they had some difficulty problems because the test team got too good at the game. That's what the developer told us. They got too good at the game, so they made the game harder so the testing team could test it. That was the first. That's just funny to me. Anyway, so the Steam came out February 26th, and they said, hey, consoles were supposed to drop, but we underestimated the certification process for the systems, and they're going to have to be put on, like, we're going to have to wait. Well, 2 weeks, they'll be up. And then every week we have gotten some form of 2 more weeks. Well, this week we got something even better, Asa. We got a release date for console. Xbox One gets the game March 23rd. Just them, nobody else. They still can't pass certification for Switch. Or apparently they passed it, but they have to be past certification for so many days. And I at least feel good for that I might get to play my game soon because I have it on Switch. Sony just gets a big question mark. They don't even know. My issue is this guy, like the developer, keeps throwing out these things whenever he knows he shouldn't be. Because he at least knows, like, right now, Xbox One is coming out 23rd. In his same video, he said, maybe the 30th for Switch, but I know it's not going to happen. So, like, the dude just keeps putting his foot in his mouth over and over again. And it's only really annoying because I just got my physical items for this game. So I have a case and a game guide booklet and some pretty baller stickers for a game that I can't play. And it's like one of those things where it's like, I get the choices that he's making, but he then goes like on his developer blog being like, yeah, I'm really getting torched on social media. Yeah. I wonder why. Because you like promised us all this stuff and we're like the console people are still just sitting on our hands. I want to play this game so bad. It looks so fun. But every passing week, past the 2 weeks I was told after the initial launch on Steam, is making me bitter. About being like, well, I want to play your game, but you weren't prepared. And it's just like, and it's not like the game is breaking on Switch. He just can't get it passed because there's like little button issues that his so good that their test team is too good at the game didn't find. That's why I put the test team thing in there, because they were so good that they had to make the game harder, but they weren't good enough to catch button problems.
So what kind of button problems?
So if you will play the system, the one that got him held up the last time was if you're holding the left Joy-Con in single player mode, the start button doesn't work. What the fuck? Your test team is so good that you had to make the game harder and forgot to scale it back for us, but they couldn't figure out one controller's configuration didn't work right.
Like if you're only because you know how with the Joy-Con you can
use one or the other and just do that.
Yeah, I mean, if no one bothered to play like that, because people probably aren't going to do that. Like, and granted, I've never been. It'd be pretty easy to overlook.
That all right, fair. But you think if you're in the test team, you would test the game. So I'm just like, no, you like. It's just one of those things. This guy, and like, I want to play this game. Apparently, it has awesome reviews, and like, I hope in 4 weeks probably, I can give my Retromania review. I would love to do that, and I would love to say how much I enjoy the game and how I get a rule ass's warhorse, and like, because it's a beautiful game. Everybody that's gotten to play it says it's really fun, but I just haven't got to play it, and this developer is just saying all of the wrong things. Because I have a brain cell that works together, like that rubs together every once in a while. That's just like, oh, because that was like their initial, like their launch day issue was the game was too hard. Like the people were on easy and getting bodied by the computer, and it wasn't even close. And the guy like said like, oh, that was our fault. We should have switched out test teams. The test team got so good that we bumped the difficulty up, and that makes sense. I understood that. But then when you're like, yeah, we can't pass certification on certain systems because some buttons don't work. What the fuck was your test team doing besides just owning motherfuckers on Steam? Like, you can't do something you can't like punch me in the right hand and wave your left hand and be like, did you see it? No, you lied. Like you're just not, your test team is as good as you make.
Okay. No, I'm going to shut you down right there. I'm willing to bet that at no point did this dude lie. I more than 100% like, because I've let you go on, but like making a game is hard as shit, and it is complicated. And if he doesn't, and if something's not passing cert, that's out of his hands. So would you rather him actually like give you the updates of what they're having to fix, or would you rather it just be like, oh hey, we have to delay, and then nothing?
I think the issue with his delays are that he's giving us time frames and they're not getting met, and it's been constant.
I would like you to look up anything about a little indie developer, you probably never heard of them, called Square Enix. And they put out this just tiny little fly-by-night, pretty low-key game called The Avengers.
Uh-huh.
And tomorrow, actually, is when the character Hawkeye, Clint Barton, releases.
Is it actually releasing tomorrow?
Yes, it is tomorrow, because his original release date was in November.
Okay. So,
and that is a billion-dollar corporation that is having issues.
I did tell you
getting things going.
I did tell you when I pre-ordered the game, right?
Yes.
And whenever
you pre-ordered a Kickstarter for an independent thing for someone, is it his first game that he's made?
No, he's made games before.
Okay.
Yeah. And and again, my whole issue is he just keeps throwing times out there and they're not getting met constantly. And what you were saying is totally true. That's very common in the video game world. But I bought a game back in, it might have been a year by now. I'd have to check my phone to see when I actually bought it. But we're closing in on a year. It was definitely around the time that COVID started.
No, you pre-ordered a game. You helped fund a game so that it could be made.
Okay.
You did not buy a case. You didn't go to GameStop and buy a game to take home and put in, and you're being locked out of it.
Yes.
You pre-ordered it and it's been delayed. And if he did just like crap out a terrible game, you would be even madder. Because if it came out and it was like Cyberpunk on the PS4, where it was so bad that and then they did say some real stupid things that to the point where PlayStation was just like, cool, if you're going to put all that on us, then we're just not going to list your game anymore. Because as far as I know, it's still unavailable on the PlayStation Store.
I think you're right.
So like it's you gotta. I understand your frustration. I do, like 100%, and you do deserve to be frustrated. But a lot of the stuff that you're saying to express that frustration is
wrong,
ass backwards.
Fair enough. It's super annoying whenever I watched all the developer blogs because I was super into this game and I watch all of them. Like I was watching all the developer blogs, and it was disheartening because I bought it back in like March, April of last year. I think it's whenever they announced that Myers and Cardona were going to be a last minute addition, and then they were like Chris Bay and Warhorse are going to be in it. And like I was like, oh, I love both of them. Like this game's going to be awesome. And then it's like, all right, summer 2020. All right, cool. I'll wait like 2-3 months to get that game. All right, it's gonna get pushed back a couple months, COVID. And I was like, that's understandable. I understand that COVID's a thing. And then it's just, all right, we're getting pushed back again. You got a reason? We're getting there. It's gold. We're trying to get it certified on everything. All right, cool. And then February 26th, that was the big day. We're gonna get everything out February 26th. And then it just didn't happen for half of us. And now it's happening again where it's like, all right, a third of us are going to get the game maybe on the 23rd. Well, no, it's on Xbox that it's going to be on the 23rd. So Xbox is definitely getting it. And then he throws out, we're hoping March 30th for the Switch, but we don't know for sure. And it's just like, dude, come on. Like, it's really hard to still defend you. It's the Kanye West thing. I love Kanye West's music. It's hard to defend him sometimes when he talks. It's really hard to defend this guy right now because, like, he talks about all the things with developing, and it's just like, yeah, but everything that you're saying, if you would have already tested, wouldn't have been an issue. Like, I understand something not loading in properly in cert, and they're like, no, game is not ready, we're not putting it on our system. Because I'm willing to say Nintendo's real motherfuckers about that, because it's Nintendo. But when it's a button issue, I'm like, did you not have anybody test it? because like I've seen like people test things before, and you tend to test everything. So
is
maybe
he using like an actual professional QA developers, or was it like a Patreon or a Kickstarter tier?
I have no idea.
Because again, like, the Kanye comparison legit makes me laugh, because like, look at the things that Kanye is saying and promoting.
Oh yeah.
And then look at, this guy was wrong about when his video game was coming out.
Yeah,
you are being a little bitch right now.
Yeah,
and I say that with love.
Oh yeah, no.
I need you to understand that people are listening to this like, what the fuck is this dude whining about? I'm sorry you didn't get to play your wrestling game for like 3 months.
I am pretty bummed about it too, listeners.
But we're moving on from it. I'm cutting you off. You're done.
Again, hopefully in 3 weeks I get to give a review and I'll be like, hey, everything I said, stupid.
Mm-hmm. No, don't worry. Even if it's a terrible game, it was still stupid.
It's still stupid. All right, fair.
We did get a little bit more news on the switch from the WWE Network to Peacock. It is still not automatic. You still, if you are a current WWE Network subscriber, you want to watch WrestleMania, you do have to manually do it yourself, create a Peacock account, and sign up. However, we finally got an announcement from WWE about what will happen to your ongoing subscription. And it is that the WWE Network will, and this is only for United States subscribers. If you're international, apparently this does not apply to you. But the WWE Network will just end on April 4th. Shortly thereafter, we will issue you a prorated refund to your existing payment method. To continue watching WWE Network after April 4th, you will need to sign up for Peacock. So if your subscription is set to auto-renew, April 30th, and you get charged March 30th, they will refund you however much money they decide is worth from the 4th to the 30th. And then you will just then have to go and subscribe on your own.
I also think it's the 5th, not the 4th.
I read that directly off of the press release.
Oh, I'm reading it off of my email.
Huh.
Yeah. The network is moving and beginning April 5th. It will be exclusively... it's
because
ending the 4th, beginning the 5th. All right, I'm stupid.
Yep, there it is. No, you're fine.
Because I was like... I was looking at it and I was like, that's not what my email is saying.
It just means that on April 5th, that is the first day that if you want to watch something WWE, it has to be on Peacock, since network ends on
the 4th.
The 4th, yeah. So there's a little bit of news for you. I told you we'd keep you updated. I had already canceled my subscription, so Peacock is actually going to be the first thing, or Fastlane will be the first thing I actually watch on Peacock.
That is my office streaming service, so I watch it every night.
I misspoke, because I think my subscription would have renewed tomorrow is probably when I'll go ahead and sign up for it. So The Office will absolutely be the first thing I watch on Peacock. Fastlane will be the first WWE content. Excuse me. That I watch on Peacock. And we'll see how that goes.
There's been sprinklings of WWE stuff on Peacock as of like a month ago. Because I was seeing it as I was going to the office, but I was like, I don't need to watch it here because I still got the network until whenever. So, but I've seen like ads for WWE stuff on Peacock. I don't know if it's been live or they've just been putting backlog stuff on it or what, but yeah, it's been there.
Is it stuff that's available to watch now, or is it like a hey, coming soon?
Oh, let me find out.
Yeah, pull that up while you're doing that. And then that's the last of the news stories. Real quick, I just want to touch on Impact had their pay-per-view Sacrifice this past Saturday. From what I've seen, it was a good show, which the Impact Plus shows tend to deliver pretty good. I'm not going to go over the whole card because I didn't watch it. I wasn't able to this past weekend, but there were some noteworthy things, including Ace Austin defeating TJP for the Impact to become the new X Division champion. Deonna Purrazzo retained her Knockouts championship against ODB. We do have new Impact Tag Team Champions in Finjuice, David Finlay and Juice Robinson, as they defeated the Good Brothers. I was surprised to see that. I genuinely expected Good Brothers to kind of hold on to that, and I fully expected to see an Impact Tag Team Championship defense on Dynamite at some point. Like, I thought it was going to be, because for a little bit, Private Party was the number one contender, but that match was on Impact. I thought, like, you know, if they did something like that, then they could defend it on Dynamite. And I thought that would be kind of cool to really, you know, continue to screw with the Forbidden Door stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the main event, Rich Swann defeated Moose to unify the Impact World Championship and the TNA World Heavyweight Championship into one title. It has been unified, and Rich Swann will then go on to defend that title against Kenny Omega in April. That was a big old Rumble of Thunder. In a title versus title match at the I believe it's the Hard to Kill.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I would have to.
Oh, really quick. So if you type in WWE on Peacock, I'm on the mobile app. I'm getting Best of WWE, WWE Untold, WWE Ruthless Aggression, and then I'm getting ads for Fastlane 2021 and WrestleMania Rewind.
And those are all things that you could like put on now and watch.
Except for Fastlane, but yeah.
Oh yeah, obviously that would be neat. Hey, we've broken the fabric of space and time.
Oh, now you're cool with time travel.
I swear to God, I'm just I think Hard to Kill was their last. Rebellion. It'll be Rebellion is the name of the pay-per-view.
Okay, got it.
It was not Hard to Kill. That was one of their. That was Hard to Kill was when it was supposed to be Swan and Motor City Machine Guns against Kenny and the Good Brothers. But it ended up being Swan, Chris Sabin, and Moose. So that was Hard to Kill. And then Rebellion is going to be the title versus title event. So, and then as we just mentioned, WWE Fastlane is this weekend. It's this Sunday, the final pay-per-view event before WrestleMania this year. And I gotta tell you, as someone who is following WWE and is liking a lot of stuff that's coming out of WWE, I just don't care. Like, at all. Like, nothing. Like, some of these matches are gonna be really good. I know they will be. But, like, holy crap. I just don't care. Yeah. And I don't, and because it's just, I've always hated these, like, stopgap pay-per-views before WrestleMania. Because there's already been matches announced for WrestleMania.
But
like, why am I supposed to care?
A pay-per-view in between.
But why am I supposed to care about Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus when we already know that it's going to be Drew McIntyre challenging Bobby Lashley for the WWE title? Like, and Raw didn't seem to add any sort of stipulation of like, okay, well, if Sheamus wins, it's a triple threat. You know, if Sheamus does beat Drew McIntyre, they could always do that retroactively and announce that on Raw. But like, what are the stakes here? The personal feud between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, even though they've already wrestled twice now?
And they're buddies, like... And
this is well, not anymore.
Yeah.
But, this is just, as far as I know, this is just a regular singles match. This isn't, you know, no disqualification. It's not a cage match. Like, there's no real... the stakes haven't been raised. So that's weird.
It goes back to a good thing of we're only paying $10 for this, in theory, because it's the whole thing of just like, man, if they wouldn't have gotten Peacock and they'd been like, we're going back to the normal pay-per-view model, be like, nobody's going to buy Fastlane. Nobody's buying Fastlane. It's a waste of, like, that would literally be a waste of money. If it's just like, hey, we already have these matches lined up for WrestleMania, but here's this pay-per-view in between. Like, there's no reason to have it. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I know you're so used to me just talking over you all the time that it throws you off whenever I let you finish a sentence.
I was like, I said a lot of dumb things during the Retromania Frustration Minute that I was like, did I say something stupid again?
No, I was letting you get all of that out for the Retromania thing. Like, I was hoping maybe you would feel better, but you just kept going. And I was just okay.
I'm not going to lie, I feel a little bit better because somebody called me out on being stupid. And I'm not even being shitty. Like, there's not going to be any post-show fuck you Asa moments.
Okay.
Like, thank you.
Because I was a little worried. Not because you're the type of person to do that. Just like, man, I might have been mean.
I needed that. I needed to be told I was being a child. Like that's why I love you. Again, this is just going to go into me and you for a second. I don't have anybody really putting me in my place anymore. And I feel like I really need to get knocked down a peg, and I'm actually really fucking grateful you did that. So thank you.
Send Sadie a message and tell her she needs to start being meaner to you.
Yeah, just like, you're not doing enough. But yeah, no, like, so I didn't know if I said something stupid about Fastlane existing.
No, because I think you're right. Like, if AEW's, if Revolution, if their card felt so non-important as this card feels, I wouldn't have bought it, especially for, $50. Revolution, I felt justified, okay, I'll spend $50 to see what happens here. And for the most part, I think I got my money's worth there. By most accounts that I've seen, like the reviews of people who saw Sacrifice, they seem to have gotten their money's worth out of the show. So that's good. But yeah, with like this Fastlane pay-per-view, especially because, there's only 5 matches announced. It's like, oh man, I don't know if I would put $60 down to order this. Some of the other matches include one that I do think that I'm actually genuinely, this is the one that I'm most excited for, is Big E defending the Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews. And this will be the first time that they have competed for the title. Like, they've had multiple championship matches, but this is the first time that they will meet in a match with Apollo's new gimmick, where he's embracing his Nigerian heritage and he's speaking with the accent now, which I'm conflicted on how I feel about, but he's cutting promos and he actually has a defined character finally.
Yeah,
so plus just that promo from Big E of you step on my lawn, I bulldoze your home. Like, yeah. Give me that.
Oh, speaking of which, really quick, because you said Big E and it reminded me, Our Heroes Rock hit 100K.
Yes. Thank you.
And their stretch goal now is 150K, and that's going to pay for a second animator. So yeah, go to ourheroesrock.org if you haven't already and donate.
Yeah, this is it's a super great thing. I absolutely intended to put that on the news, and I completely blanked on it. So thank you so much.
No, it's just you said Big E and it reminded me.
Yeah. So yeah, congratulations to them. Hopefully they hit that 150K goal. I hope this gets as much money as they could possibly know what to do with to make this just the best thing that it could be.
Because I think 150 was their top of their like stretches.
Mm-hmm.
And that because the 100K got him a music producer, and then I think the 150 is going to get him a second animator. I think that's what the Kickstarter update said. And if they get that, they can get this done, because they were like, I've never done 3D animation. I'm assuming it is very time consuming.
No, it's easy.
I mean, it has to be easier than making a game for the Switch, and that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to get a second animator so they can get it done quicker.
Mm-hmm. Which is cool.
Yeah, I hope they get it, because I want to see this project get done.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for this, and I'm so happy that they reached that. Because we have hit the just absolutely creatively bankrupt rock bottom for this division, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships will be defended as Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler compete against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. What are we doing for a feud? Make the people team up and challenge for the tag titles. Holy shit. I feel like there hasn't been a women's tag team feud for a year that hasn't been some form of one of the champions and their challenger either winning the belt or constantly challenging the belt. And this is what I wanted to say talking about last week's announcement. They had a perfect opportunity to put those championships on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez 2 weeks ago. And they didn't, for whatever reason. And then they're like, okay, well, now NXT has its own women's tag team titles. No, they should have just taken the WWE women's tag team titles and had them to have their home, quote unquote, be on NXT. Because there's not a ton of teams on the main rosters that have any sort of credibility. So okay, you want to put Lana and Naomi together? Send them to NXT. Let them put on good length matches instead of 3-minute nothings on Raw. And now that you're adding a second tag title, which, yeah, sure, NXT's women's roster is probably the strongest in any company right now.
Yeah.
But, like, is it big enough to really justify that women's tag team championship? And then to have them be just simply awarded the titles and then to lose them the same night?
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Man, that was such a bummer.
Out of all the dumb choices they made, that was probably the dumbest.
Especially because I don't think that when Raquel and Io Shirai have their match, that Raquel will win. Like, I think she could. It's possible, for sure. But something's telling me that it's not going to happen, at least not right away. It'll probably be your second or third time challenging that she'll actually get it. So, that match. Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton was announced, and this is I'm willing to bet. I would bet that this is going to be a cinematic match.
Yep.
I don't think this is just going to be in the ring, and because WWE has been so inconsistent with how they want to do intergender matches, I don't know how this will go. But I will tell you that my greatest fear is that the Fiend possesses Alexa Bliss and she just starts chucking Orton around and no selling his offense.
Yeah, there's no right answer.
There's really not.
And that's that's been a very common thing with the quote unquote main roster with WWE, with like this kind of thing since the Boneyard match, where there's really no right answer. I haven't been entertained by a WWE cinematic match since that one. Because of the wrong answers they've made. The Inferno match was good until the last minute. And that was worse than the explosion match at AEW. Because at least then they were able to skirt around that Omega was just messing with them. Whereas that was just like, no, he really killed the Fiend's dummy. I can't think of any other cinematic matches that I was like, that was good. I mean, maybe not TLC. Money in the Bank was funny, but even they killed like 3 guys.
I wish you could. I wish that AEW had a network, so that you could watch the Sting Darby Allin versus Team Taz. I genuinely loved that match. I want to rewatch it.
Like I was entertained by. They did the Stampede match. That was just stupid. Yeah. I was entertained by that. I said a WWE cinematic match.
Oh, okay, sorry. I missed that.
Yeah, no. Because I watched that cinematic match, and I mean, it was goofy, because it was supposed to be. But, like, like, WWE, because they do them, not regularly, but they do them enough now to where I could say, like, no, your really good one was your 2 at Mania last year. Those were your top 2. And then Money in the Bank was fine, but it wasn't as funny as the Stampede match. But like that Boneyard match was the only really good one. The Bray Fiend or Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman Swamp Yard match was stupid.
One sucked.
The Boner Yard match at Talking Shop of Mania 1 was better than some of the shit they've been doing, because at least then I had a good laugh out of it. It was intentionally funny. But yeah, no, I feel like they're gonna jump the shark. Well, I feel like the Braun Bray jumped the shark on cinematic matches with him. I feel like this is going to jump the shark part 2.
Yeah, well, and again, we don't have confirmation that it is a cinematic match. This is kind of what my gut's telling me is going to happen. Although, if it was just Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton in a straight-up match, I'd watch it.
Oh, yeah. I would at least...
That could be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the odds are that's nowhere close to what we're getting. And then the main event, because I want to go to bed, is going to be Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Universal Championship. And because we're recording this before SmackDown, we don't know. But depending on whoever wins on SmackDown between Edge and Jey Uso, they will be the special guest enforcer. And I truly believe that Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan have absolutely incredible chemistry together. There is no doubt in my mind that this match will not be incredible. The problem is I don't care. No part of me believes that Roman Reigns versus Edge is not going to be a one-on-one match for the title. The only thing that I think we're really going to get out of this is someone is going to screw Daniel Bryan and to set up a WrestleMania match. It might be Jey Uso. it might be Jimmy Uso, and Daniel has to get a partner to take on the Usos in a tag match. I don't think there's no stakes to this. Now, and I say that, and I'm probably not going to do a watch along for Fastlane this weekend, but you and I will be messaging, and you will more than likely get a message from me being like, damn it, they got me. There's going to be a near fall. He's going to get him locked in the yes lock. And I'm going to think for a split second that, holy shit, Daniel Bryan's going to win this. But he won't.
No, he won't.
We both know he won't. It's not going to be, it's not going to happen. So that's a bummer to me. And whenever I feel like there's really no stakes to the match, it hurts it for me. So, what about you? Do you think that there's a chance that Daniel Bryan wins this?
No. I think the way that I like to say it is snowball chance in hell. There's no way he walks away from it because they're building up Roman for this Edge match, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why, unless they just wanted to give us Edge versus Daniel Bryan, like, why would they do this? They see more money in Roman, so you know he's going to win the WWE title. And yeah, like, no, it's just going to set up Daniel Bryan's match, which, yeah, give me the Usos versus Daniel Bryan and somebody else. That Drew Gulak isn't doing anything. Right?
That teaming. So
like,
good.
Let me get my coach. We'll figure it out. And then it's the Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. And I'll say everything great about the year 2021 if I get that match. But yeah, no, like, it's the placeholder of the pay-per-view. I hate these kind of shows.
Yeah.
Because
no, you're right. Like, if this was
stakes, like, it's an extended cut of Raw.
I would absolutely prefer if this was Edge versus Daniel Bryan. And it is since it's not clearly part of the stipulation between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, like, okay, if Daniel Bryan wins, he gets added to the title match because he does have a legitimate claim because he won the Elimination Chamber and then immediately had to defend against Roman in what was clearly a unfair, disadvantaged spot. He deserves a one-on-one. He deserves a legitimate chance at the championship, but he didn't get it.
Yeah.
So, holy crap, I can hear it raining through my headphones.
And I think that means we're done for the night because we're at an hour and 7.
Yeah, so that ain't bad. I mean, with any time we talk about the results or preview a show, we go a little bit long, but by our standards, we're coming in under the wire.
Yeah. Not under the wire. This is a short episode tonight, folks.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for us. We will, of course, be watching Fastlane and any matches that might get added because 5 seems like a real short card. There's got to be something added, but we'll see what happens. We've got Fastlane. I'm trying to think. We won't have. No, never mind. My brain went somewhere and that was incorrect. So, let us know what you think's going to happen at Fastlane. Do you think Daniel Bryan actually has a chance at winning the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns? I want to hear your argument. I want to know. So, but until next time, that's going to do it. For Dalton Anthony, you can, of course, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Dalton Anthony. Get your Big D merch. Get you a shirt.
I know y'all got stimmies. I know y'all got stimmies.
Listen, cheer him up since he's not going to get to play the game he wants to play. Buy a t-shirt and get a smile out of the salty bitch.
I haven't. Pro Wrestling Tees hasn't emailed me besides Pro Wrestling Crate in so long. I miss him. Him.
And you know he's got his notifications turned on.
Yeah,
he's just waiting. He's just
how
waiting
Gmail works,
chime.
Asa.
He's got his chime. He's desperate to hear it. So yeah, prowrestlingtees.com/Dalton Anthony. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and on Twitch at twitch.tv/the5starman and twitter.com/the5starman. And don't forget, facebook.com/podzilla1985. Give us a like. Check us out for the episodes that we do. Oh, so much thunder. Oh God, if I lose power, swear to God.
I'm in a basement, so I can't hear any of it.
Pro Wrestling, no, we already did yours. Facebook.com/Podzilla1985 to watch us record the shows live, from Nerd Up to I Want to Believe to PZ85 Plays to Pro Wrestling Unscripted most nights when we're not recovering. So yeah, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all so much for your continued support. You have no idea what it means to us. Everyone have a great and safe week. Goodbye.